morning, everybody. It has been a while, hasn't it, since I've been on here. Really haven't had a whole lot to talk about, but something in the news that people are talking about, and the media is saying it seems to be split 50-50. So I want to know whose side you're on. It's the case where the restaurant owner yelled at a crying child. Some people call it a screaming baby. The parents refer to their little angel as a quietly crying baby. Now, you know, I haven't had a baby in my house in a long, long time, but as far as I know, there are no quietly crying babies. If it was a quietly crying baby, it'd be a whimpering baby. The parents apparently took this child, little toddler. It wasn't like a little baby in a carry-out, it was a toddler, to a diner. It's a small diner. They make their pancakes fresh on the grill. This, I believe, was during the breakfast rush. There was a lot of patrons in the restaurant at the time, and the child was screaming and crying and screaming and crying. And the owner said that the parents had ordered 3 big pancakes for the baby, but when they took the food over, they weren't feeding the child. So some people are saying, well, maybe the child was hungry. You would cry too if you were hungry. They said it went on about 40 minutes. The restaurant owner spoke to the couple. The restaurant owner even, I believe, put their food in to-go boxes. When that didn't work, she told them they had to go. The baby had to go. Somebody was going to have to go. They just looked at her and ignored her the same way they were ignoring their screaming child. She goes back behind the counter and she finally has enough and slams her hands down on the counter and said, "This has got to stop." And the child looks at her and said, shocked that the child stops crying. So what she did worked. The child stopped crying. Now the parents are in uproar. I can't believe you screamed at my baby. So whose side are you on? Do you think that the owner of Macy's Diner should have screamed at the baby? Do you think they should not have screamed at the baby and just continue to let it go and let all the other customers in there sit there and listen to this screaming child? Or did she do the right thing? I think she did the right thing. I think she did. It worked. The child got quiet. So therefore, that tells you that child needs discipline. That's what's wrong with kids today. The parents are not giving them discipline. They tune them out. And I'm sure they tune them out at home, and that's why they tune them out in that restaurant, because it doesn't bother them. It may not bother you, Mommy and Daddy, but it bothers everybody else that don't want to hear your little darlings go on and on and on. I stand behind the restaurant owner 110%. A lot of people said, well, she's going to lose business. It's a small business owner. She's going to lose business because of this. But no, she won't. There have been some people that said they won't eat there now because of this. But there have been more people saying that, yes, they will go there and eat because they appreciate a place where the owner does take care of all the customers by not letting this continue. That would be the same thing as if you're sitting in a restaurant trying to eat your meal and the old lady over here is constantly blowing her nose. You don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that. People go into a bar, if they get loud and rowdy, they get put out so that other patrons there can enjoy their day. If your child is screaming and won't behave, take them to the car, quiet them down, take them home, or just leave them at home in the first place. That's the way I did with my kids when they were young. If they acted up, which wasn't very often, because they knew if they acted up, they would get put in the car, they would go back home, but I'm not going to punish myself because of them. I would simply put them in the car, take them home, and I would go back out. So, parents need to discipline your children more than what you do. I hate going into Walmart. I hate going in there in the evening times. I like to do all my shopping early in the morning before anybody hits the stores. I don't like to be in Walmart or any store for that matter in the evenings when you got these kids running around, screaming, hollering, hooping, and the parents are just looking on the shelves like this, so nonchalant, like they've turned them out. And then the kids stand in the middle of the aisles looking at you when you're trying to get the baby past them, and they look at you like, please, kids today have no respect. I couldn't be bringing up kids in this day and time. I just, nope. Anyway, what do you think? Do you stand behind Marcy's Diner? Or would you boycott Marcy's Diner? And until next time, bye-bye.